All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down a really cool way to teach or learn any new language. We're going to look at a lesson from the Fluent Future Vietnam podcast that uses something we all get to teach something that can feel, super overwhelming.
I mean, really think about that for a second. When you're a total beginner, even saying something simple like, I like pizza, can feel like a huge challenge. So where do you possibly start? Well, that's the exact problem this lesson solves. And honestly, the way they do it is just brilliant.
And this quote right here, this is the whole philosophy. The hosts, Sia and Tom, they don't hit you with a bunch of complex grammar. Nope, they start with something they call super simple and useful. And that idea that the simplest things are often the most powerful, that's the engine driving their entire method.
So here's what we're going to cover in this explainer. First, we'll look at why food is such a perfect starting point. Then we'll see how they build up vocabulary, meal by meal. After that, we'll get to the 5 powerhouse verbs they use. Then, the fun part, seeing how it all clicks together into real sentences. And finally, we'll touch on the mindset they teach, which is just as important as the words themselves.
Okay, first things first, the foundation of this whole lesson. Why on earth do you start with food? It might seem a little obvious, but the strategy behind this choice is what makes it so incredibly effective. Here's the thing. Everybody eats, right? Everyone has foods they love, foods they don't. So by picking this topic, you immediately bring the stress level way, way down for a beginner. You're not trying to discuss some abstract idea. You're just talking about what you had for breakfast. It connects this new, strange language to a feeling, a taste, something you already know so well.
All right, so we've got our why. Now, how do you actually start building the vocabulary? Well, the method kicks off by focusing purely on the what, the actual names of things, the nouns. And what's so cool is how personal and specific they get right away. Tom kicks it off with, I love to eat eggs for breakfast. And Sia comes back with, I love to eat pho. See what they're doing? They're not just reading a random list from a textbook. They're tying these new words to their own real-life preferences. And this pattern just keeps going for lunch and dinner. Sia likes rice with fish, and Tom likes pizza. You gotta notice the mix here. A culturally specific meal, rice with fish, right next to something the whole world knows, pizza. It makes the lesson feel both authentic and super accessible at the same time. And to wrap it up, they even talk about snacks. Sia picks a Vietnamese sandwich, banh mi, while Tom keeps it simple with fruit like apples and bananas. And just like that, through a few back and forths, they've created this really solid, practical list of food words you can actually use.
And here's the science behind why this works so well. When you learn the word pho, your brain isn't just storing a sound, it's linking that sound to an image, a smell, a taste, a memory of a warm bowl of soup. You're attaching the new information to something you already know, which makes it stick so much better.
Okay, so we've got our nouns, the what, but you can't build sentences without action words. We need the how, and this is where the lesson gets incredibly focused. They don't throw an entire dictionary of verbs at you. Nope. They zero in on just 5. 5 simple verbs that give a learner the absolute maximum power for the minimum amount of effort. And here they are. Eat, cook, add, bake, and drink. Just think for a second about how much you can say with just those 5 words when you're talking about food. I eat pizza. I cook eggs. I add cheese. I drink coffee. It's like a Swiss Army knife for food conversation. This is basically the 80-20 rule applied to learning a language. Why learn 100 verbs kind of poorly when you can master 5 essential ones? This strategy gives you this huge return on your effort. It builds confidence fast and unlocks your ability to actually communicate right now.
So, we have our building blocks, right? We've got our personal nouns and we've got our 5 key verbs. Now comes the magic part, where we put it all together. And just look at how cleanly this works. The hosts show us exactly how it's done. Sia takes her nouns, chicken and vegetables, pairs them with the verb add, and bam, a perfect sentence. Tom does the exact same thing with eggs and cook. This table shows you just how simple and repeatable this formula is. And this really gets to the core of it all, empowerment. This lesson gives learners a quick win. You're not just memorizing words in a list, you're actually creating something. This simple formula gives you the confidence to start building your own sentences about your own favorite foods right out of the gate. But the hosts know that learning a new skill isn't just about formulas and vocabulary. There's a huge mental game involved, and they tackle that head on.
As you listen, you can feel this constant stream of encouragement. They totally get that frustration is the number one thing that makes people quit. So they build the emotional support right into the lesson itself. It's genius.
And they leave the listener with this powerful piece of advice. This is a direct quote, and it's just as important as any word they teach. Be patient with yourself. It completely reframes how you think about mistakes. They're not failures, they're just part of the journey. It's a lesson in language, sure, but it's also a lesson in being kind to yourself.
So that's the whole method in a nutshell. Start with something universal, build a small list of personal nouns, master a few powerful verbs, put them together, and do it all with a ton of patience. And that leaves us with a really interesting question to think about. Whether you're trying to learn a language, or coding, or how to play the guitar, what's your favorite food? What's that one simple, relatable topic that could be the key to unlocking your whole learning journey?